Hello everybody, welcome back. 3.0 is going to be the most important update for Star Citizen, not only because it will add the full Stanton system and the first set of professions in game, but mainly because it will add planetary landings and will give to players the opportunity to visit the planets and the moons of Star Citizen. Will give to players the opportunity to land on their surface, explore around and in general have fun pursuing their own goals. So I thought while waiting for 3.0, while waiting for the announcement for 3.0, it would be nice to go back a bit and take a look at how all this started, and of course take a look at how much the planetary tech of Star Citizen has evolved since the first time it was shown to us. We could say that everything started back on August of 2015 when the Nix landing zone preview was released, and for the first time we witnessed a spacecraft in Star Citizen approaching a landing zone on the surface of a planet. Obviously, the developers were working on this tech for quite a while, but it was the first time we were watching it, and it was quite awe-inspiring even at its first steps. Still back then, we haven't really realized what this first iteration of the planetary tech meant for Star Citizen and how big our universe was going to be in the future. Back then, when this preview was released for the first time, there were some concerns about everything being on rail without any real freedom for the players to go around the planets, to go around these areas, explore and do pretty much everything we like. But now we know what kind of regulations and what kind of rules will apply when we will be approaching a major landing zone on the surface of a planet. What followed after that made us finally realize that procedurally generated planets in Star Citizen were going to be in reality, and that we could not only admire these planets but also have the opportunity in the future to land on the surface and explore them. I am talking of course about the From Pupil to Planet trailer that was released on December 2015, and it was showing for the first time a seamless transition from surface to space. This was the first time that I think all of us realized how big our universe was going to be with this planetary tech, and of course we admired for one more time the developers and CIG for their passion and for their work on this amazing project. This trailer was showcasing a procedurally created small rocky planet with an atmosphere with 1000 kilometers diameter only, and it was basically the first look at Star Citizen's awe-inspiring planetary tech. What is even more amazing about this trailer is the fact that it was 100% in-game footage rendered in real time, and during the holiday livestream of 2015 we were shown that the level was recorded in-game, with the developers taking off from a space station, traveling to Delamar planet and entering the atmosphere without any cutscenes. Seamless transition. Of course, this wasn't the first attempt of the devs to create a planet with an atmosphere, a procedurally generated planet with an atmosphere. We can see here their first test of a planet without an atmosphere on October of 2015, and next their first test of a planet with an atmosphere on November of 2015, before the From Pupil to Planet trailer was released. What followed after this trailer was a short clip showing for the first time a character walking in-engine on the surface of a planet. And although that planet wasn't anything spectacular, was a quite simple planet with low quality textures, it was a magnificent and beautiful view, and quite surprising as well because we had no idea that CIG had already started working on a tech like that that will allow our characters to eventually walk on the surface of a planet. Then the Gamescom of 2016 came and changed everything. CIG revealed their plans not only about the expanded persistent universe with the full Stanton system with 5 planets, including the Delamar planet imported from Nix for extra variety and testing purposes, but also all the moons of these planets and a lot of space stations and points of interest around them. We also had the opportunity to take a very good look at the planetary tech and how CIG and the developers were working in order to make this tech a reality and bring it properly into the game. During the presentation we visited Levski, the landing zone on the Delamar planet, An area full of NPC, full of life, and of course we learned about the evolution of the mission system, the evolution of the game as a whole, and we also landed on another planetary location in order to raid a surface outpost. Even though it felt amazing to be able to travel around the Stanton system, the expanded persistent universe, and visit all these locations, the planetary tech wasn't quite there yet. The surface on the locations we had visited during the presentation was quite plain, quite simple. It was like a greyish field, and as the developers admitted later, there was no diversity on the planets at this stage of the planetary tech development. But it was still impressive, an impressive innovation by CIG and a harbinger of greater things to come. The CitizenCon of 2016 was indeed a revelation, and showed us how much better and beautiful the planets of Star Citizen can and will be when we will get the 3.0 update. With this presentation, CIG unveiled their Procedural Planets V2, the improved version of the planetary tech that we had seen at Gamescom a couple months before, and we were shown a very beautiful planet and a live planet with much better quality, and of course the existence of different ecosystems on a single planet, with biomes that will be able to blend together and create a realistic experience. But we have also learned of planets that will have a unique feeling and will have certain conditions that will be dictated by the lore of Star Citizen, like the Microtech planet. What we have learned from this planetary tech V2 was that the planets will be procedurally generated, but it will be artist-driven procedurally generated. That means that the planets will be actually created with procedural techniques, but they will include many locations handcrafted carefully by the artists of CIG in order to give a unique and warm feeling, a unique look at each and every planet. We have also taken a first look at the vegetation that continues evolving even right now, but also on clouds and proper lighting as well, and shadows. In the verse, light will depend on our location related to the sun, and this is very important. The planets will rotate on their axis, but they will also rotate around the sun in order to give a much better and realistic feeling, a much better and realistic experience. And that is not all. There will be a full weather simulation, and the biomes will actually control weather and the clouds. The biomes, like we have said, will blend, and we will have vegetation and acid blending. Realistic water reflections and proper waves, realistic oceans in general. The Planetary Tech V2 brought diversity to the planets of Star Citizen. And this is where we are right now, with the developers working on the planetary tech, making the planets better and more beautiful, and of course working on the moons of the Stanton system as well, while waiting at the same time for the announcement for the 3.0 update and to finally learn when we will get these amazing parts on our hands. Right now the work continues, and we are getting improvements on lighting and clouds, ecosystem-based weather particles that will be playing when we will be inside that certain ecosystem, but also on planetary effects and weather effects. There will be realistic atmosphere and weather effects on the planets around Star Citizen. Like we have said so many times already, the developers are finalizing the moons, and we have taken a very good look at the moons around Crusader that are pretty much ready to be implemented in the game. The work on the ecosystems of these moons is complete. The developers are working right now on the geological elements that can be found on the surface of these moons, but they also work on the planetary locations, the planetary outposts and the space stations around the various planets and moons of Star Citizen, because they will also be a very important addition for the planetary tech of this amazing game. Like I said already, the work continues on the planetary tech, and every week we'll learn more news about improvements happening on this very important and essential tech for the success of Star Citizen. We'll learn of these improvements and of course how hard CIG and the developers are working on this important technology in order to not only make the planets as beautiful as they can be, but also provide us with the best possible gameplay. Thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. I am SquidofLove and I will see you around the verse. Bye bye.